everybody doing this afternoon? Really? Really? I know you can do better than that. Let's try it again. Rewind.
You guys having a good day so far? Yeah.
See? I think it's discrimination. Okay, so we would like to talk to you. Actually, I don't know how that got put together. So a little slight change from what's in the program. The content is roughly the same, but it's kind of a little different take on the original talk that we submitted for this, or that we suggested for this. So I slightly changed the name to Creative Collaboration for the Win. And so we're going to actually tell you a little bit of a story of how to create better together. So, I'm Denise Jacobs.
I am Jessie Shternshus, or Shternshus.
Just look right down at them.
Yes.
And you know that we're here at DelightConf. My Twitter handle is Denise Jacobs, very clever, just my name.
And mine is my company's name, very clever as well, The Improv Effect.
There we go. And if you want to use the hashtag for this, if you want to tweet, it's Create Collaboration, so you can go ahead and use that. And also, I've got the slides online already, so if you want the slides, you can go to this shortened URL, and it's also going to be tweeted, and it's also going to be at the end of the presentation. So if you miss this, don't feel bad about it. So, you might be wondering, two for the price of one.
You are so lucky.
Who are those strange women up on stage yelling at me?
Well, I am Jessie Shternshus, as I said before. I am the owner of The Improv Effect. It's a company that I started about 9 years ago, and we work worldwide helping people collaborate, communicate, and creatively solve problems. I'm also the author of a book called Control Shift, 50 Games for 50 Blanking Days Like Today.
Excellent. And I am Denise Jacobs. I'm a speaker, an author, and as I like to call myself, a creativity evangelist.
Oh, yeah.
Just like Jessie, I do talks and trainings and workshops on creativity, creative collaboration, helping teams and individuals unleash their creativity and work better so that they can do their best work. So, and I've actually started a company called The Creative Dose,
Yep.
and I do that stuff. So you may be wondering, okay, that's all nice. You guys seem like very, very nice people, but so how is it that you're doing things together?
So we'll take you back to a day in Oslo, Norway, and we're walking around with a bunch of Norwegian people, and we had a mutual friend named Doc Norton, and he kept saying in our ears, oh, you have to meet Denise, you have to meet Jessie, you have to meet Denise, you have to meet, I was like, okay, fine. So then, where most people meet, we got on the fjords on a shrimp boat, and it was love at first sight, yeah. So, and it was basically
yeah,
all
we
over.
just couldn't stop talking to each other, as you can see, and Doc and we just had like a really rousing conversation.
Yes.
And it was very exciting.
Stimulating.
And from that point on, we decided that we actually not only wanted to be friends, but we also wanted to work together because we did work that was so complementary, and we inspire each other to keep doing things that we love to do. And so that kind of brings us a little bit naturally to this idea of creative collaboration. So let's talk about that for a minute. I like to think of creativity, this is what I've been noticing over time, is that I like to think of creativity as like the new black, right? It is kind of the pervasive thing that you start to hear now about business and working and teams and whatnot. But it's actually not so much that it's new, it's kind of been coming up over the course of time. So in 2010, IBM did a study of CEOs, and they asked them, what's the top leadership quality that you think that CEOs are going to need in the next 5 years? And overwhelmingly, they said it was creativity. In 2012, Adobe did a study called the State of the Create, and they interviewed people all over the world in different countries and asked them various and sundry things about creativity, but one of the things that came out of that is that 80% of the participants felt that creativity was absolutely essential to unlocking economic growth. And in 2013, Jessie's going to talk in a minute, don't worry. We're taking care of her.
Oh, don't worry.
Don't worry. In 2013, Time magazine did a poll, and they asked people within the workplace, what characteristic do you feel is the most important of people that you work with? What do you want them to have? So above humor, intelligent, compassion, over ambition, and thankfully over beauty, because that would just be shallow, right? Over all those things, overwhelmingly, people said that they wanted other people that they worked with to be creative.
And then LinkedIn did a study actually this year of what recruiters are looking for in somebody's resume and what they've done in their job history. And they did the top 8 things, and creativity made it to number 7.
Excellent. So I look at all of this, and then the work that we do as well, we've seen this over and over again, that people have this kind of innate desire and this kind of impetus to create all the time. And because not only we have this, but because it's so important, has been proven by all of these studies that we just talked about, we also feel that it is, and we've also seen in our experience, that it's a business imperative as well. The problem is, and Jessie can attest to this, the problem is that there's this myth of a lone creative genius, that there's going to be this person who sits there and comes up with all of these wonderful ideas all the time, but by themselves, right? And then maybe luckily they'll come and they'll take it to the group, and the group will go, that's a great idea, and actually execute upon it. But the problem with that is that it's isolating, right? It puts us in silos. Yesterday we did an exercise, and one of the gentlemen that I was working with in the exercise said, yeah, like our company, you know, it seems like things are just really siloed and people are kind of individualistic and individualized, and it's just, we don't really get that much working together.
And so when people come together and they blend ideas, they have something more surprising and typically a lot stronger.
Exactly.
And that comes through the way that we collaborate each other when everybody has a seat at the table. And in fact, if we go back to that LinkedIn study from this year, if you look at the top 8, teamwork, aka collaboration, is number 3. Meaning if you can't collaborate, you're probably also not being the most innovative company because you're not working together.
Exactly. So we have identified, and this is what we're going to share for you today, we're going to share with you 5 steps. And they're actually kind of combined steps, because we like to combine things.
Yes, mashup.
And we like to do mashups. And so 5 steps for getting to a place of creative collaboration. So the first one is unblock and trust.
And then communicate and connect.
After that, combine and collaborate.
Express and play.
And then finally, nurture and support. So we're going to do this, but we're also going to do this in a kind of an interesting way. We're going to share a story of our own creative collaboration process and how that was kind of a microcosm that actually reflects this process that we're going to share with you today. So the first step, and I keep stepping on all these like little crunchy things.
You're like kicking it into the audience.
Oh my gosh, my shoe just came apart. That's why I'm stepping on crunchy things.
High fives.
That's
Perfect.
right.
All right.
Fail to win. So the first one is unblock and trust. So when we embarked upon this kind of process and was like, okay, great, we're going to speak at Delight, we're going to do this talk. I given a talk that was something that I done, that I talked about creativity and creative collaboration. And I was like, great, let's do it. And Jessie's like, let's try to like fit some stuff in so I can say things. And then I got into a fear place. I'm not afraid to share it with you guys, okay? I got into a total fear place. Jessie is an amazing speaker and she's an amazing trainer. And I was afraid that if I shared the stage, that people would end up loving her more than they love me.
And as a side note, this is happening. We're on a Google Hangout, okay? She is in Switzerland. She had just come from Australia, where she did a keynote and a workshop, and she had just finished giving a workshop and a keynote in Switzerland, but yet she was having this go on inside, just so you know what was happening.
Exactly. And so these fears that I had, this being mired in fears, meant that I couldn't show up and I couldn't actually contribute anything because I was so afraid about trying to share and trying to, share the stage and everything that I blocked what I had to offer. And so I call that, and I'm writing a book about it, it's called Banish Your Inner Critic, which I'll talk about a little bit later, but I call that's your inner critic that shows up and starts to like make you afraid of things that are kind of irrational, that keep you from moving forward and being able to do your best work. So let's not just talk about my inner critic, let's all meet your own inner critic and each other's inner critic. So you have a piece of paper on your chair, or on the chair next to you, hopefully. It's not underneath your chair. It's not just for special people like Maggie had yesterday. So I want you to take out just one of the pieces of paper, because the other one we're going to save it for another exercise we're going to do later. Okay? Take out your piece of paper. I want you to write down your top fear. Don't write down a list. We don't need like a long essay about it. I want you to write down your top fear around creatively collaborating with other people. So it could be that you're afraid you don't have enough good ideas. Or maybe other people are smarter than you. They have more expertise. You haven't been doing this long enough. You're going to get laughed at, judged, blah, 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 blah. Whatever it is, I say blah, blah, blah just to mean that there's a lot, not to discount your feelings.
All right.
I know. So write those down. And when you've written it down, just one, don't sign your name or anything. This is completely anonymous. When you've written it down, crumple it up in a ball. And when you've gotten it done and you've got it crumpled up in a ball, hold your hand up in the air so I can see it.
And how much time do they have?
Oh, just like write it down fast. You don't have much time. This isn't like I said, it's not an essay.
That could be your fear, that you don't have enough time.
That could be your fear that you can't come up with your idea. Okay, now I want everybody to stand up. You got your hand in the air. Put your fist in the air. Power to the creative people. Everybody on the right-hand side, I want you to face in.
You guys
Everybody
face that
on
way?
the left-hand side, I want you to face into the
this way?
center. Okay? On the count of 3, you are going to throw your ball across the room. Give some love to the people on the other side of the room, okay?
You're gonna
so they
have
can
a
get
snowball
a ball too.
fight.
Ready? We're gonna have a snowball fight. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Snowball fight! All right, pick them up. Pick one up.
Pick up your snowball, distribute them around. If people didn't get any,
Pick one up and read it.
them around. I need the runner with the microphone. Who's got the microphone?
Who's got one they can
control.
read?
Okay. Open them up. I want to hear everything, or at least as much as we can in a couple of minutes.
All right, who's got one they can read?
Todd's got one. Todd's like, I'm ready. I'm ready. Yes. What we got? Give me some mic. Pump it up.
I can shout it.
Okay.
Oh, all right. It's just
Here.
one word. Roadblockers.
What's it?
Roadblockers.
Road blocking.
Road blocking.
Okay.
One person said road blocking. What else?
I suck.
What else?
I fear getting stagnant.
Getting stagnant?
Yes.
What else? Well, these are good ones.
Ideas aren't good.
My ideas aren't good. One over there in the blue shirt.
I'm worried I can't compete against people with
No
more
original.
experience.
What's it? What'd you say, sir?
I'm worried I can't compete against people with more experience.
Can't compete. He
Right.
said ideas aren't good. No original ideas.
Anything up here?
I fear not being heard.
Feel like, ooh, that's a good one. Ooh. Won't get anything done. Ooh.
May be found out to be a fake.
Be found out to be a fake. Oh, you guys are great.
Let's do one last one.
Two more.
My ideas will be perceived as stupid, and it will reflect poorly on my intelligence and ability.
Awesome. And
Great.
then one more in
up
front.
here.
Okay, not good at thinking aloud, afraid to sound dumb. You don't have to acknowledge this. You can keep it inside. Anything sound familiar, right? You can just, right?
Or you can let it all out.
Or let
You'd
it
be
all out,
that
like,
is
that was me.
Right here.
You read my thing.
Right here.
So the thing is that you're not alone, right? Everybody has these ideas. Almost invariably, I'll have like one blank piece of paper when I do this exercise. By the way, if you guys will hold on to those papers for me, I would really appreciate them. I use them as research. So with your permission, I would actually like to keep them. So this is very common, right? Everybody has these ideas, and everybody has these forms of the inner critic. I like to think, like I said, I'm writing a book called Banish Your Inner Critic, and in this I talk about 2 different forms of the inner critic I think that are particularly prevalent that happen when it comes to creative collaboration. And one of them is called deficiency anxiety. So it's basically that anxiety that you don't know enough, you don't have enough ideas, you're not an expert enough, you're not smart enough, etc. Right? And then the second one is comparison syndrome. So I heard my ideas aren't as good as other people's somewhere, or it's not going to be
I don't have
somebody's.
enough experience as much experience as other people.
Exactly.
And what happens is most of the fear is actually the battles within ourselves. So we're trying to quiet that little voice that tells us we can't do it or we're not good enough.
Right, and you try to quiet that fear of being judged and criticized. You try to quiet
the fear of, if I say something that's really out there or too creative, will people even understand what I'm talking about? So then you don't say it at all.
Exactly, and you don't share things. So all of these are fears, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with this acronym for fear, but fear is false evidence appearing real. So basically, you're looking at something and you're thinking that it's real, but it really isn't. It's just your interpretation. Another form of the inner critic that shows up in the context of creative collaboration is perfectionism.
Yeah, we see a lot of people, including ourselves, we get paralyzed sometimes because we want everything to be perfect. And what we like to tell people is, instead of thinking of it as this big, massive thing that you're going to fail out, you're creating little, small experiments that help you kind of redefine or relook at something in a new way, and then you have tons and tons of opportunities to succeed. Lots and lots of chances to succeed. So it's a different way of going about something that maybe you're feeling blocked by.
Exactly.
And one of the exercises we like to do, because perfectionism is a big one, is a game called 1 Failure, 5 Mistakes. So we thought we'd just quickly show you what it's like. So what happens is, it's a mind map. So in the middle of the mind map, you would have your mistake written on there. So you have your sad, delighted face. And then...
Undelighted.
Undelighted. Thank you, I cannot speak English. All right, so you would have your sad face and your mistake written there. And then what's great is, instead of saying, okay, well, this sucks, there are actually 5 things coming out that are things you learned, 5 great positive things that wouldn't have come had you not allowed yourself to make a mistake, had the perfectionism gotten the best of you.
Exactly. And so through this process of recognizing the form of your inner critic, actually starting to deal with it, knowing that other people have that as well, and maybe starting to have the courage to get past it, and also to think about your failures and think of positive things that come from it. Through that, you actually can start to reclaim your creative power, and then you can have something to contribute and bring to the table. And so that brings us to the next part, which is
communicate and connect.
So
let's take you back to the story. So we told you about how Denise was upset about making this presentation together. She was in Switzerland, and so I wanted to know what was behind that, and I really tried to be present and listen to what she was saying, and I kind of was digging around for more, and as I started to figure out what was going on, I started to share a vision for maybe a new way that we could collaborate together. And so a really huge part of being able to collaborate creatively with other people is active listening, which also comes out of improv. It's something you learn right from the start, is how to read other people, both what they're saying and how they're saying it. And so there's a game that we like to do called Last Letter Conversation. And what you would do is you have a conversation, person 1, the very last letter of what they say is the first letter of the other person's response. So we'll show you what we mean.
watch and learn.
So, Denise, how was the chicken?
Nice, really nice. I loved the chicken. How was your meal?
Lovely. I ate and I met new people, and everyone seemed to be excited about seeing the keynote that we were going to do a little later.
Really? That's wonderful.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
thank you very much.
So,
We're here until the rest of the evening.
Yes, we're here every night. So the idea is that you have to stay present in that exercise, and you have to listen all the way up until the last thing that they said in order to be able to respond appropriately. So what Denise was doing is she allowed herself to be vulnerable, right? And there's strength in vulnerability. I think people are afraid to be vulnerable all the time, but yet those are the people we become closest to because they're real, right?
That's right.
And they really share, right? So Denise was able to really share with me once she said, I feel okay to be vulnerable. And then I was able to get clarity and not make assumptions off what I thought was going on, but I actually knew what was going on. And this is brings us to another tool that we use when we're working with clients. It's called the 5 Whys. Have any of you ever heard of that? The 5 Whys? Yeah. So this is a great tool where you're digging deep. So you would start with the problem, and this could be with something you're designing. It could be a problem that you've heard that your customer is having, and you're going to dig deep. So you're going to ask, and why is that? And why is that? And why is that? And usually by 4 or 5 deep whys, you're actually uncovering what's really going on. So there's something beyond just the surface level of the problem. And this is a great thing you could do even during customer interviews.
And so using that tool and also being vulnerable, sharing how you really feel, and even, having somebody say, okay, well, I hear you and everything. This is kind of how I think we can actually move forward and we can do this together. That you'll really start to find where you complement each other. So you'll start to be able to sit in your own strength and your own kind of capabilities and talents. The other person will sit in their strength and their capabilities and talents. And then you can kind of start to complement each other and bring things together and kind of fit together like puzzle pieces. And then you'll find that what you're doing is like stronger in concert than any one idea or any one contribution that you would have by yourself. And that leads us now to the next thing, which is to collaborate and to combine. So once this happened and we got to sharing, Jessie listened to me have my little meltdown and everything, which was really supportive. I appreciate that. Then we got to the point we kind of like busted through that block and we really started sharing ideas, and we were able to combine superpowers and do our Wonder Twins powers activate.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of love this slide.
I know. We could just stay here.
Yeah, we'll just stay on the slide for the rest of the presentation. No, but we have to move on. Okay. And so that brings us to...
So what this does is when you combine your superpowers and work together in a really authentic way, you're bringing different perspectives to the table, and different perspectives mean a whole new set of different solutions.
Exactly.
And it's a way that you can balance each other. I mean, I feel a whole lot taller even when I'm with Denise. So, I mean, that alone is enough.
Because I'm giving you my height.
She is. I'm not really helping in that department, but it's okay.
I'm sharing. And so the other thing that happens kind of through this process is that you can start to actually amplify people's ideas. So instead of just having their idea be there and like, okay, that's great, I see your idea and everything, you can take their idea and you can take it up and take it to 11, right? And that is through a process. Has anybody heard of plussing? No? You haven't. Wonderful. Okay, so plussing is actually often attributed to Walt Disney. It's something that he used at Disney Studios to keep coming up with creative ideas for the animations. And now Pixar is very, very well known for using the process of plussing. And plussing is actually based on
improv.
That's right. And so what you do is with plussing is basically you use the tenets of improv. And so what you do is you start where you are, and whatever somebody says, you accept that. That's the offer, you accept the offer. Then once you have that offer, once somebody gives the idea, to actually take it and amplify it and make it better, you go in completely, you fully commit. You don't come in kind of like lackadaisically and kind of like, well, I mean, I don't know. Like you just, that's great.
Jump in.
And jump right in.
And then there's another tenet that is making your colleague or your partner look good. One of my favorite philosophies of improv is the one that says, make your partner look good and you look great. Make your partner look bad and you look worse. And I just think that's a great philosophy for life in general. And then probably the most famous tenet from improv is the yes and. So instead of blocking forward motion and collaboration and creativity or even a conversation, you would say yes and instead of yes but, right? And so the yes is I'm validating that I hear what you're saying, and the and is there to push ideas forward together.
Exactly.
So we're going to try a really fun exercise. So hopefully you did not crumple up 2 sheets of paper. If you did, high fives to you. So get the other sheet of paper and a pen, and we're going to play a game called Superhero and Sidekick, okay? So what you are going to do is on the top of your paper, we'd like you to write the name of a failed or total reject of a superhero, one that's never made it to comic books or movies. So it could be like
Antenna Man.
Antenna Man, or Captain Lip Gloss. That was awesome.
Captain Lip
so
Gloss.
We've set the bar super low, so you will succeed. Okay, so write something at the top, some sort of made-up, horrible reject of a superhero, like what we made. You can't steal ours. We know they're great, but try your own. All right.
And we're going to give you a minute to do this. I will time it, so I'm here to do this. So you've got a minute, go.
Write it at the top of your paper.
By the way, you cannot fail at this. Like anything you write down is totally acceptable and probably very amusing. So you got like 45 seconds, so no pressure, no pressure. But if you can do it faster, better. Good. I was like 30 seconds. I think 30 seconds is reasonable.
Yeah.
So okay, if it's 30 seconds, then you've got like 10 seconds left. I know the pressure. Okay, and time. Okay, so.
All right. Everybody got their stuff written down, pretty much? All right. Now, what we'd like you to do is go ahead and pass. We're not throwing at each other this time. Just pass papers till we say stop. So it could be chaotic, but passing. You should end up with a paper when we say freeze, okay? Keep passing, keep passing, keep passing, keep passing. Okay, freeze. All right, take the one that's in your hand. If you have two, hold them up so somebody can have one.
Share
Look
and
around
share alike.
if you have two. Okay.
Sharesies.
So now, take a look at what landed in your lap, and we'd like you to come up with a sidekick on the other side of the paper at the top. Who goes around and fights crimes with Captain Lip Gloss? Probably Chapped Man. I don't know.
Eyelash Mascara Man.
Mascara Man, yes. So at the top, please write something that yes ands what landed in your lap.
And you have 30 seconds.
On the other side of the paper. Yeah, other side at the top. If you failed at that, just make a line and do it again.
That's right.
Doesn't matter. It's
And you
improv.
have 15 seconds.
No pressure.
No pressure. 10.
Think total reject.
Total
and Total
reject.
reject's friend.
Gotta fix my shoes. 5 seconds. And scene.
Okay, so please pass again. Pass,
Okay.
pass, pass,
Pass.
till we say freeze.
Pass.
Keep passing.
Pass, pass, pass,
Pass,
pass,
pass,
pass,
pass,
pass, pass, pass,
pass,
pass,
pass,
pass, pass, pass, pass, pass,
Break it
pass,
down.
pass,
Pass, pass, pass. Freeze! Sorry, Denise and I got distracted. Okay, so if you've got two, don't be a superhero hog. Pass
Don't
them
be
to
a
somebody
superhero hog.
who doesn't have one.
Share
I don't
the
know what
wealth.
that is. Okay, last round. Now, you must, with your best preschool or childlike drawing skills, illustrate both the superhero and the sidekick that have landed in your lap. Okay,
This-
so best you can. Minute?
2.
2 minutes. 2 minutes, all right? So your best illustration, tap into your inner 2-year-old. Remember the reject, so it doesn't have to look that great.
They don't have to look great.
No, put
They
a
can
cape
look
on
silly.
it. If all else fails, give it a wand.
Give it and a pointy
And
hat
a pointy hat.
and a cape.
And call it a day.
That's right. I want to draw one now.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
I'll
put
be
a
like,
wand
Denise
and a pointy-
disappears to go draw. She's like, oh, that sounds fun.
The
You hobble
Kino
off
can
with
wait.
your one shoe.
That's right. I love that. I'm like, I gotta get this thing fixed.
The fear of having your shoe fall off in the
It's-
middle of your keynote.
The struggle is real.
Sorry. See why we
You
make it?
have about a minute left.
I know.
You have about 45 seconds.
If you're finished early, feel free to tweet it out and show your creative abilities to the
Yeah.
whole world.
Yeah, we're happy. Sharesies. You have about 30 seconds left.
Got to do both sides.
Sides. I'm so excited to hear these. This is going to be great. 10 seconds. Aren't you glad we time boxed this? Could be drawing forever.
Pass them one more time.
Oh, okay. And time.
All right, please pass till we say freeze. So pass, pass, pass. Pass again. You should not have the one you just drew in your hands when we freeze you.
Oh, I can't wait to see these.
Okay, freeze. So if you've got two in your hands, all right, and go ahead and look and see what you received. And we've got a mic. We would love to have a couple of people stand up and share what they've got.
What you got? Todd's got one.
We got one up here. We got one right here. Todd.
Tom Bennett.
Tom. Calling him Todd.
Dave, I think this is a new show
Tom.
for you and me, my friend.
Tell me, Tom. Tell me everything.
We are Dr. Loogie and Slime Man.
Nice. Nice.
Dr. Loogie and Slime Man.
What else do we got? What else do we got? Somebody read theirs, please. We know it's not yours, so don't worry about it.
Don't be shy.
I've got the Cracker Man and the Cheese Champion making
The
it happen.
Cracker Man and the Cheese Champion. Yes.
The cheese champion. I
Yes.
saw one over on that side. Yeah.
I have Captain Snot Wipe
Snot wipe. Yes.
with sidekick Ms. Wedgie Picker. There's no picture.
Miss
Well, we
Wedgie
can picture it in
Picker.
our minds.
Yeah, no, that's
we got
okay.
it. We got you covered.
So they're
Great.
just gonna have like a wedgie and
Yeah.
okay.
I've got Blobfish Man and Mermaid Power.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
One more.
Let's do one more.
Yeah.
Who's got one?
This is
Anybody got
great.
one? There we go. Last one.
I have Grumpy Sister and Cheerleader Man.
Yes. Good job, you guys. So
Grumpy
the idea
sister.
behind this is that you use that concept of yes and. You probably wouldn't have come up with the grumpy sister and his sidekick, right, the cheerleading brother, on your own, right? You played off of each other to creatively come up with something together.
It's wonderful. And so this actually brings us to the next thing, which is you actually kind of experienced this already, which is express and play. And so through this process, we actually felt free to express ourselves, and then we got to
make the work play, and it sort of became a blend, right? The things came together, and instead of feeling like we had this task to write and produce a talk, it became fun. We found the game in it. In fact, we feel like there's a game in everything. I know I referred to my book before, but in the book, each chapter has a different day you might be having and a fun game that you can play with it. And so we challenge you to always find the fun and the play and the game and everything.
Exactly. And in addition to kind of finding the game and kind of blending the barrier between work and play, also within creative collaboration, another thing that you need to do is you need to be adaptive. And this is kind of where the improv tenets kind of come in again. That you need to be adaptive to the situation and kind of be on your toes and be ready to create together through whatever the person gives you, right? Now, one thing that we want to kind of warn you against is over-contributing. So you may be like super enthusiastic, right? You're like, oh my God, I'm in this great space. I can share all my ideas and whatnot. But we also want you to be able to leave the space for contribution. And so we are going to do an exercise to actually try that and see what it feels like. So this is an exercise called story by suggestion, and this is one of my favorite exercises to do with people. So you need to find a partner. Quick, find a partner. Decide between the two of you. One of you is going to be the storyteller first. The other one of you is going to be the listener. Storytellers, this is very important. If you're telling the story, listen up, you guys. If you're telling the story, you need to have your back to the screen.
So kind of maneuver yourself just a little bit.
And then right before you get yourself all situated, one more thing. So storytellers, here's the premise. You are going to tell your listener you won a trip to Brazil, and you've just come back from your trip, and you're going to tell the listener all about your trip to Brazil. However, what you're going to do is you're going to give your listener an opportunity to give you either a noun, an object, or a verb. So you're going to tell the sentence like, I was walking down the street and I found
Pizza.
a pizza, and the pizza was delicious, but I decided to
Throw up.
because
welcome.
delicious pizzas need space. So, do you see how that works? So, storytellers, back to the screen. Listeners, the reason the storytellers got their back to the screen is because I'm going to put a list of words on the screen. The storyteller, I do not want you to see them. Listener, it's going to be a list of nouns and a list of verbs. Don't be cute and try to pick and choose the words. Just go down the list, okay? Make the listener use their brain, the storyteller use their brains. You guys get a minute each for this. You guys all situated?
Are we done running the microphone around?
Are you ready?
Thank you. Sorry.
You have, I'm going to give you actually a minute and a half because this is too much fun. Are you ready? Go.
We only have 5 minutes left.
She said 10. She just put up 10.
10 or
5.
okay.
She put up 10. Okay. 0-1. After this, though, we're in. We're done. It's actually, the energy for this is a lot lower than. It's all right. It's good. She doesn't have a partner. It's not good.
You want to switch it?
What?
You want to switch it?
Not yet. Okay, you've got about 10 more seconds. Okay.
All right,
Rub it up.
freeze.
Freeze. All right, now, storyteller and listener, you're going to switch. So the listener is now the storyteller is now the listener. Different premise for the story. So the listener is like, oh my God, it's amazing that you went to Brazil because I went to Brazil and I went because I went for an ayahuasca ceremony. You guys know what ayahuasca is? It's like jungle LSD. Basically, just work with that. So you want to tell your story of how you went and you had this ayahuasca experience. Now the listener, you have a different set of words to deal with. So once you guys get yourself situated, storyteller, now your back is to the screen, listener, and you guys will have another minute and a half. So you guys ready? And by the way, I saw somebody who didn't look like they had a partner. Who doesn't have a partner? So, yeah, everybody? Does anybody else not have a partner? Somebody needs to help this woman over here. Somebody, or get into a 3 group. There she is, right behind you. Look, right behind you. There you go. You guys pair up. You should be not left out. No child left behind. Okay, you guys ready? Listeners, storytellers, go.
Take a picture. Take a picture. Let's do one. No, both of us.
They're like, so unprofessional.
All right.
You've got about a minute. I love this game. You've got about 30 seconds. Ten seconds, you guys. This is actually a true minute and a half. 4. All right.
Freeze.
Time.
Nothing
Yay.
like Brazil.
Woo! All right. So find your seats again.
Say goodbye to
Tell
your new
me-
best friend.
Actually, we need the mic again. Well, maybe
No,
not.
we're
You can
good,
just
we're
shout it
good,
out.
we're good.
How was that? It's good? Yay! Okay, I'm always want to hear this. Why? What happened? Why was that good? Why was that fun? What? Yeah. Yeah, but you make it make sense. What else? Unpredictable. What else? Finding a pace?
Yeah, nice.
Right. What else? How about the back and forth?
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Perfect, yeah.
Yeah.
Funny, right?
Good.
So, and how about the unexpected aspect of it? Right?
Yes. That's
Great. Okay, so I feel like this is a really good example of creative collaboration, right? Like this is what happens. It's unexpected, it's joyful, you find a pace, all of these things, that's what happens. And so that leads us into the final bit here, which is nurture and support. So we told you the story of what we did to create a talk this actual talk about creative collaboration and how we creatively collaborated. And it's very meta, right? It's like being in a bathroom with mirrors that face each other and you see yourself for eternity, right? It's kind of like that, but different in a talk form. But all of those things are necessary for creativity and collaboration, but you also need something else.
You also need tacos. I mean, who doesn't need tacos? So tacos is another great acronym for the things that it takes to be in a perfect environment for creative collaboration. And those things are trust, authenticity, connection, openness, and safety.
Exactly. And so I kind of feel like, and we talked about this, and we feel like when you're at a conference like this, and sometimes the team that you work in, sometimes the company, but a lot of times like conferences like this are like these little microcosms where you have that, where you have the trust, the authenticity, the collaboration, communication, the openness, the safety. You have all of that stuff kind of in the context of learning with these different people and having your mind open to different ideas. And so what we would like you to do is we would like you to take those tenets, take those qualities, and take them home with you. Take them back to your teams, take them back to your companies, and to start to use them.
Everybody loves tacos too, so it's a win-win. And so think, the next time that you have to work with other people and come up with something creative, think about how you're showing up, right? Are you blocking your own brilliance by not showing your cards and keeping your cards to yourself? Are you maybe afraid to be authentic, be real, and kind of get to the bottom of those 5 whys? Or are you the loud talker, the one who kind of talks so much nobody else gets a chance to show up, and you're bulldozing every conversation?
Exactly. Because when you do collaborate creatively, when you do show up and you start to work with people and you combine your superpowers, you realize that you've got support, right? You thought that you were going to be out there just kind of putting out these crazy ideas, but when everybody's kind of coming from the same page, everybody supports everybody else, just a lot like in improv. And you realize that it's with other people, right, that you're able to actually to start to create magic, and that you actually are able to start creating delight, right? And so for closing, kind of for ending this, we'd like you to do these things, okay? We would like you to challenge yourself.
And stay open.
And then we would like for you guys to all say this with us together. This is how we envisioned it, so please be kind. And also, embrace the process of creative collaboration for the win! Woo! Yay! So, if you want the slides, that's actually the end of the presentation. If you want the slides, you can go to this URL. I'll leave it up there for a couple extra seconds so you can get it, and you can download the slides, you can look at it. Also,
if you're curious about where to find me, again, my company is called The Improv Effect. My book is called Control Shift, 50 Games for 50 Blanking Days Like Today. And here's all the lovely information about me. Tweet at me, however you want to contact me. We would love that.
Exactly. And my company's The Creative Dose, so please get in contact with me this way. That's how you can find it. My upcoming book, I'm halfway done writing it. I'm super excited. I can do it. I'm super excited about it. Banish Your Inner Critic. It's going to talk about the different forms of the inner critic and give very specific exercises for how to deal with each one of them. I personally I love the book so far, and I hope it's going to be a really helpful tool for everybody. This is how you can contact me. And finally, you guys were great. Thank you so much.
Thanks for playing,
Thank you
you
for
guys.
having us.